Welcome, friends in the industry by Event Rental Professional with Susanna 𝐸. Today, we have the pleasure of connecting with 𝐤𝐦𝐚𝐢𝐥. She's the owner and the designer of the Honest Botanist, who provides her services here in Ottawa, Canada, to the wedding and event industry, as well as corporate functions for the past 17 years. Lauren also hosts floral tutorial workshops for private events and seniors' homes. She started off with a busy first wedding season, picking up her first corporate clients, working on taking operations out of her home and into a commercial workshop space. Congratulations, of course.
We're working on it.
Yes, exactly. Her personal motto is you can make something from nothing. An interesting fact about Lauren is that she has worked in culinary, in restaurants, hotels, and fine dining in Canada and the UK. She has attended several post-secondary education programs and has a wealth of knowledge in her field due to that. All of her contact details will be below this video as well as at the end of this video, so stay tuned. So let's learn more about the Honest Botanist. Welcome, Lauren.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. So yeah, can you tell us about your journey and what inspired you to pursue your current career path?
Well, I kind of happened on it by accident. I got scooped up into a flower shop when I was 17 to just be a holiday warrior and help get through the volume of the holidays, and ended up coming back for every holiday, Christmas, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, until they decided to keep me as full-time staff. Um, Through all of that, I was also working part-time in restaurants, juggling 2 to 3 jobs at times, and then running away to Montreal to go to university, off to Scotland, where I worked in most of my culinary positions, and then coming back to Canada. I actually came back to look after my senior father. And then after he passed, I decided to work for myself and start my own business and create my own thing.
And you've done great.
Yeah,
Yeah, very.
but total accident as to how I fell into it.
Well, sometimes it's just the best way, right? So if you think back
Yeah.
over all this time that you spent in this, what has been the most challenging aspect of your work and how have you overcome that?
While I was still working in flower shops, the biggest challenge wouldn't necessarily be a challenge. It was more a disagreement in how much waste there is in the floral industry, and I really wanted to do something different. Um, so I put in a huge effort to my business now, where I try to limit waste as much as possible, try not to send anything off to landfill. But working for myself now, the hardest thing would be working alone.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in teams in kitchens, in flower shop workshops, large groups of people working together, and now I'm completely solo. So I feel like the hardest challenge is how to stay, not stay on top of everything working alone, but playing through the creative aspect of designing things without having anyone to bounce ideas off. I'm sort of left to my own inner thoughts on what I think people like, which
Yes,
can be difficult.
absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's if once you have more friends in the industry, it doesn't have to necessarily be in your direct field, but you'll find people
Yeah.
as we go through life that are great people to connect with and bounce ideas off. So I'm sure you've come across some of those so far.
Yeah, I've got a couple of girls that volunteer their time graciously when I have large events. And they're slowly becoming a team of reliable assistants. So we're getting there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about an important moment in your career that changed the direction of where you were going?
The most important moment, I would say, sadly, would be when my father passed. Up until he left us, not left us, but left, I had been working for other people. I had spent many years caring for him. So I was sort of in repeating the motions and a constant state of, okay, let's just get through the next thing. And then once he passed and I was able to deal with some of the grief, I took a lot of the energy that I had put into caring for my dad and decided to put it into myself. And 3 months later, started the Honest Botanist.
That's amazing. And I totally understand. I lost my mom. So it's a big thing and it's a huge loss, and you need to take that time for yourself after. So I'm happy to hear that you actually did that. And look what came out of it. You know, you
Yeah,
repurposed all that energy that you had for your father that you've now put into a new business.
yeah, he would be proud.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And in your opinion, what are the key qualities or skills that have contributed it has contributed so far to your success?
I think with florals, since becoming an independent florist, one of the biggest aspects to being successful on my own is keeping a high level of organization. I am meticulous and attention to detail, and a lot of that came from my time in culinary, working in banquets under Michelin star chefs, where everything had to be perfect.
I bet it did.
So easy to translate into flowers. A lot of people don't realize it, but kitchens and floristry can be very similar in managing live product, putting out beautiful work. The only difference is I don't have to deal with the fire in the kitchen anymore.
Very true. It can be a little cooler where you're working now.
Oh yes, I'm in my cold room right now. I've got hat, hoodie,
Yes.
boots on even. Yeah.
Well, you came dressed for the occasion for the space that you're in.
Oh yes.
Yes, absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about how you stay motivated and continue to innovate or thrive in your field. For this
Oh,
is more to
nice.
share with future people that are, looking at that type of career that you have built.
So my biggest motivation would be my husband. He, because I operate on my own and I don't have a team working with me daily, I'm sure other small business owners will know the two states of being in business, extreme joy or existential dread. Whenever I hit those existential dread moments, my husband is able to pull me out of it and remind me how much I've done so far in such a small amount of time, and he's able to get me right back on track.
Oh, that's fantastic. You see, you already have one person in your network right at home.
Oh yes, he's right
Awesome.
at home too.
Exactly. That's amazing. So, in your whole career so far, can you tell us about a specific event that or an achievement for a particular maybe order or a delivery that you've done or a setup that you've done that you're super proud of?
I would say my first wedding, actually, well, not my first wedding, but my first wedding as an independent florist. It was before I had actually created my business. I was just doing wedding flowers as a favor to a friend of mine.
Wow.
And her wedding requirements ended up much larger than some of the weddings I've done in a flower shop with a full team. And so it was a 70-piece wedding. And I designed and installed everything individually by myself, completely solo. And while I was there, the photographers had asked me how many other weddings I had on this summer and were extremely surprised when I said this was my first wedding. And that was just that level of a compliment from professional photographers on my work as an independent florist was just so touching. And it gave me the encouragement that I needed to decide to go and do this for myself.
Amazing. Well, great thanks to that photographer.
Oh yes, M6 videography and Emily Elizabeth photography.
So, what advice are you able to give someone who would want to follow in your footsteps?
My biggest advice would be committed. Um, I have had multiple ideas of different types of businesses I'd like to do over the years, but I've never really been committed to them. This is what has changed dramatically is the level of commitment to what I want to be doing and work extremely hard. Um, be prepared to work extremely hard as the biggest takeaway.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
think, as an entrepreneur, you meet so many now, being that you've been in business so long. The beginning is always the toughest, right? It's getting off the ground and it's meeting the right people and it's figuring out your processes and all those things.
Yeah, it's remaining committed through the ups and the downs, like the existential dread or the overwhelming joy. Stay
Oh,
committed through both sides.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's always a battle.
Yeah, it will eventually all come together.
Oh, yes, for sure, for sure. So if you were to look ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for your future?
So my short-term goal would be to take operations out of my home. We are currently looking for a commercial space to rent for our workshop, not in the ways of retail, but just for the space to work in, carrying on with just events, weddings, and corporate stuff. And then long term down the line, I'd like to open my own greenhouse as a wedding venue. So once I've been in this end of the industry, I'd like to eventually curate full weddings
Amazing.
rather than just the florals.
Right. That's amazing. That is great, right? And you're going to
Yeah.
need a lot of friends in the industry to make that work.
Oh, a huge amount, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
The
So,
number of vendors.
yes, not
Sorry, carry
lots
on.
of vendors. You're going to have to, you build up your repertoire of your videographers and your photographers, your rental companies, because you won't have everything all of the time. The
No.
investment would be huge, right? So,
Yeah.
and then you're stuck with, the trend items that you may not want to own. And it's all, there's so many decisions to make and you'll make them as you go along. I'm not worried. You're in the right space and you're so experienced already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
nice to put my experience into myself now.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So where can our listeners and viewers find you and connect with you? What's the number one platform where you hang out the most?
Instagram is the biggest one that I use. I do still keep an active Facebook along with my Instagram for the generations that prefer Facebook. I know the younger generations are less keen, but we carry on. We've
Yeah.
also got my website, which is a good, easy spot for brides to get in touch for consultations, corporate events to reach out and get their quotes in that way. And then there's always email, Lauren at thehonestbotanist.ca, that I am very quick to reply to.
Excellent. Wow. Well, and like I said in the beginning, your contact details and your socials will all be shared in below the video on YouTube, as well as the last slide at the end of this video. So it will be displayed anyway, so not to worry. So to end this, share one fun fact about yourself.
Fun fact that would be a little bit contrary to being a florist is some of my favorite flowers would be dead and dried preserved flowers. Um, I've always had a little bit of a witchy vibe. So the dried preserves, my husband always jokes that he's walking into the witch's hut at the end of the woods. Um, uh, Weirdly enough, as a florist, strange fun fact is my favorite flowers are dead flowers.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Well, you never know. There
Yeah.
might be somebody else may want that too, and you'll know how to arrange them.
The best thing about it is once you get them, the flowers aren't going to die. They're going to be preserved and they're going to stay the way you got them the day you got them. And I think
That's so
that's
true.
my favorite aspect about them.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
amazing.
longevity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Longevity and yeah, why not, right? It's
Yeah.
a different look, and there's gonna be somebody out there who will want it. I'm pretty
Yeah.
convinced about that.
My personal look isn't probably for everybody, but I love the little the witchy-esque vibe. You've got the see, I've got dried pampas grass right behind me.
Oh, yes, I suppose so, right? Yeah, and you never know. That would be, I think that would be a great way to do bouquets for those doing like the Halloween type weddings.
Yeah, the late autumn weddings. Did you get
Mhm.
some requests for all dried bouquets? I've done one wedding where everything was dried flowers, and they got to keep everything at the end. And with all of their little bud vases of dried preserved blooms, those were the little mementos that they sent home with their wedding. There was a bud vase for everybody.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was really sweet.
Yeah, that is wonderful. That's great. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing what you do with all of us. And I look forward, of course, since we're in the same city, that I'll get to see you at future networking events and at the wedding shows.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been lovely.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I want to wish you all the best.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.